Welcome, everyone. I'm Sherold Barr from SheroldBarr.com, and I'm excited today to have Randi Rubenstein with us. Hey, Randi.
Hi, Sherold.
And Randi is someone I admire, and she is the founder of RandiRubenstein.com, where she's a life and parenting coach. And she specializes in helping moms change unhealthy patterns to improve their lives and the lives of their families. And Randi is one of the women that I'm featuring in my interview series called Women Entrepreneurs on the Rise. And what I'm doing with this series is having women in all phases of their business talk about the story of their business, how they started it, what their focus is, and to share a little bit about the backstory, because this is something we never hear online. And that is, what are the challenges that they've faced, they might be facing, and how do they overcome it, and where are they taking their business in the future? So, Randi, it's such a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for being with us today. So, can you tell us about your business, how you decided to start your business, the whole story of your business?
So, I'm a mom and I have three kids, and my oldest son is a senior in high school. And then I have an eighth grade daughter, and then I have a fourth grade son. When I started having kids, I kind of went from being this chain smoking tough girl to a mom that had this crazy yearning to do it differently than it had been done for me. And I can't even say that I knew it at the time. I just knew I had like this hunger to learn about kids and to get to know my kids. And so I started reading a lot of self-help and child development books that I would never have guessed would have interested me, and they did. And then I started teaching parenting classes when my oldest son was probably about 6 or 7. And so I taught parenting classes for about 8 years that were based on a program called Conscious Discipline. And really, I taught these classes. My kids were guinea pigs. So I just shared lots of real life stories of what was going on and how the tools worked and how they were transforming my life. As I was teaching those classes, people kept trying to hire me, or they would ask, will you, my husband can't come to the classes. Will you meet with us one-on-one? So I met with a few people, and I just kept saying, I need more tools. So I took the GRE and I thought about maybe becoming a therapist, and that wasn't that was just what I knew that didn't feel right. So then I started researching life coach training programs, and I settled with doing Martha Beck's program, and I spent about 10 months totally committed to doing that. And I finished that in October of 2014, and I got certified quickly. And then I started your program to learn after I was done with the life coach training, and I learned all these amazing coaching tools. I knew that I needed to learn some business systems, and that's when I, signed on with you and studied with you and learned from you for 6 months afterwards.
Yeah, and you were one of my real action takers, because it really, to be successful, what it really takes is being willing to face your fears and also be willing just to stay into action. And you, right out of the gates, knew you wanted to develop a program and also write a book. And you've been very dedicated to that focus. Can you share a little bit about, since you took my class, that program, Profit from Your Passion? It was called Make Money Now, but it's Profit from Your Passion. And you went from zero to about 3,000 a month, right out of the gates, just by learning sales, learning how to, it's sales in reality. And we called it transformational conversations, how to find clients, all of that. So you did all of that, yet your focus remained on this program. Talk about, since that program, you took it from me, what were some of the challenges you faced, and then what have you done since? Because it's been about maybe 6 months, 8 months since. Yeah.
It's been, since I started your program, your program was a little over a year ago, I think, that I started in November of 2014.
Yep.
And then I finished in April. So challenges. I would say that over the last, when I started your program, I was an action taker, and that's me. I want the information and I want to jump in and I want to try and I want to try. And I think I probably drove you crazy at the beginning because it's like I wanted to learn everything yesterday. But what I found.
But let's talk about that.
Yeah.
We actually opened that up and said, what is it about your skills? What is it about your the way you take in information? And what did we find out? It was fascinating. It was the Colby,
Yeah.
Kolbe, for those of you who don't know. But explain that, because that made total sense to us. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. Well, the Colby has changed my life.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've had everybody in my family except for my 9-year-old take it because he's just too young.
Yeah.
But they make fun of me on a regular basis because I'll call them by their numbers, hey, 8353. The Colby really taught me how I naturally take action in the world. And what I found out about myself is my highest number is I'm an 8 quick start, but I'm a 7 fact finder. I felt like maybe it was me wanting the information and then jumping in and kind of chasing my tail a lot. But I think it was just my process. And your program was excellent for me because it gave me a taste of lots of information in terms of what it was going to take to really have a virtual business, mostly an online business. It was all, there was so much to learn. There were so many new systems. And I found myself quite often when you would deal with me, it was when I was kind of feeling overwhelmed because I would get so hung up on all the little kind of minutia and details. And you would have to kind of talk me out of that hole and help me and help me to kind of see the big picture and remember why I started my business and why I was doing what I was doing. And really, my business was always about helping other families live happier lives. Mm-hmm. And my Helen backstory is, if I can do it, you can do it. And I see so many people surrounding me that are living in functional misery, that are not feeling good about the way they're raising their kids. They're not laying their heads down at night, feeling proud of the mother they showed up as that day. And they're numbing and checking out, which I can totally relate to and identify. And so I started this business because I wanted to help people enjoy the family dynamic that me and my husband had created for ourselves. And frankly, those are the people that I want to hang out with. I want to talk to you during my day. I want to spend my time interacting with you. And as a community, building community, and as a community, working together on raising our kids according to this more loving, nurturing, kind, happy model that is not so competition based as I was kind of seeing in my day-to-day life. And so I just have constantly had to kind of get back to that intention and that goal of, okay, you're doing what you always wanted to do. You're having real conversations with other moms. No one's perfect. You're sharing your struggles. They're sharing their struggles. Everyone's feeling like we can do this together. I'm not on an island alone.
Yeah.
And so I've constantly been checking back in with that when I kind of get overwhelmed with some of the kind of techie details that can kind of send me spinning. Yeah.
And in all fairness, you were like a star student. So it was just interesting for us to find out why you needed all that information now, and we figured it out. It's that high action taker, quick start, and that high fact finder. What is conscious parenting? Is this a blend now with all the tools you have? So what is that?
Yeah, conscious parenting is really just showing up in your life. It's just being a conscious person, there's a lot of buzzwords around right now, being conscious, being mindful. There's a lot going on about meditation, and it's really all about living in the present moment and showing up in the present moment. So a good example is, for years, even when I wasn't physically addicted to cigarettes anymore, I was still mentally addicted. And so there were times in my life where I was somewhere, but I wasn't really there because I was thinking in my mind, God, it would be great to be able to go and have a cigarette right now. And so I was anywhere but there. And so conscious parenting is really actually being there, being where you are, enjoying that moment. If you find yourself checking out and wanting to think about somewhere else that you want to be, thinking, really kind of checking in with yourself and saying, what's causing me to feel discomfort right now? Why am I wanting to check out and escape and get away from this present moment? And what is it? Because the thing is that your kids, they know, they know when you're actually there and when you're saying, just a minute, hold on, just a sec. What, huh? Oh yeah, that's cute. And you're not really there with them. And so that's really what conscious parenting is just actually being with the person that you're with in that moment and enjoying each other.
Isn't that what we're trying to do anyways? Wake up more people. Martha Beck calls it being on the team, and these are people who want to make a difference in the world. Most likely they are all people that want to be more mindful, more conscious, awake, self-realized. And the more conscious we are about what we want, how we're acting, all of that, the better. And it's hard when you see yourself.
It's, one of my favorite Oprah quotes, which I've heard her say a million times, is she says, in the 25 years of interviewing people, there were two commonalities. And those two commonalities were people wanted to know, do you see me? And do I matter?
Ooh.
And that is you send the message to the other person that you see them and they matter when you show up in a conscious, awake way.
That's fantastic. If we didn't get that as a child, then we're looking for that as an adult.
Yeah, I think most of us are looking. And,
I say so.
It's interesting because I'm really fascinated by the human brain and I'm fascinated by this repetition of patterns. Mm-hmm. So many times it's like, people say, I open my mouth and I hear my mother's words coming out. And I swore I swore I was going to do it differently. But why? Why when I'm in kind of a heated moment, do I find myself going to her words? And, we're pattern-seeking animals. And so we repeat these patterns until we consciously work to retrain our brains and learn new patterns. And as we do that, it's so much fun and it's so enlightening, but it also has allowed me to not feel resentment over the way it was done for me.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, it is. And because really the way I've kind of defined it at this point is, we're meant to evolve. And so as we become more conscious, then of course we're going to be a little bit more evolved than the generation before. And as our children will hopefully be more evolved than we are. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the point.
I love that. Tell us about what you're working on now and where you see your business going. What's important to you as far as building your business and what projects and things you're doing?
So right now, I'm so glad you brought up the Colby. And I have to say, you were so understanding and flexible once you have my Colby numbers, you're like, oh, well, I get it. It makes sense. And that is why I've done it with all my husband and my kids, is that it's really helped all of us to show up and really understand that we all bring different things to the table. And it's all about truly understanding each other. So right now, as my quick start fact finder, I'm really fascinated by the mother-daughter dynamic. As I have a teenage daughter. She's 14. She's in 8th grade. She's about to start her last semester of middle school. It's been really interesting to me that a lot of things have surfaced for me that I had no idea were still there, that didn't come up when my son went through middle school. Mm. But it has come up when my daughter's been in middle school. So I'm really interested in adolescent girls and how we are parenting them and how we are communicating with them and supporting them, and that mother-daughter dynamic in terms of, I kind of feel like our culture, our society thinks and speaks about teenage girls in a way that it's like you kind of demonize them. And I'm ready to dispel that myth.
I love that.
I'm ready to say, you know what, as mothers, we have all the power to shape the next generation.
We do.
And especially when we're interacting with our girls, we're shaping the mothers of tomorrow. So when they're in this transitional period going from girlhood to womanhood, we have to learn more effective, supportive communication techniques so that we can empower them in the right way to become those more evolved mothers of tomorrow. And so that's been my primary focus right now in terms of my writing. I just created a new program called Becoming the Mother I Wish I Had.
Oh, that's such a great name.
I'm in the process of writing a book, which the purpose of the book is really about this conversation that I want to lead and I want to have with other women. Becoming the Mother I Wish I Had is a 6-week program, and it's basically a deep dive, very results-oriented approach to improving your relationship with your teenage daughter.
Is this program something, like, how could people find out about it if they're interested in taking it?
Right now, I'm taking applications because before I offer it as a group, I'm going to work with 10 individuals. And I've literally just started talking about it 2 days ago, and I filled 3 spots. So I have 7 spots left, and they can visit my website, which is randirubenstein.com,
Perfect.
RandiRubenstein, or you can email me directly, Randi, Randi, at randirubenstein.com, and just let me know that you're interested in receiving more information, and we can even hop on the phone and you can ask me anything you want to about it, and I'll tell you about it.
Great. That's perfect. So, Randi, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I know my people will really enjoy this. So go to randirubenstein.com. Thanks again, Randi.
Thanks, Sherold.